This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch for Wednesday, September 18th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, deadlock in Israel as the two main political parties finish the elections in a dead heat. We're going to hear from Jerusalem about what this means for the future of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Political fireworks in Washington as the first witness in the Democrats' impeachment hearing will not go along with their agenda. California's homeless problem has led to a severe health crisis in Los Angeles. Critics say the state and local governments aren't dealing with the epidemic, but we're going to show you how some Christians are stepping up. And it's a cable network that families can watch together with a familiar name from Christian television history at its source. We've got all those stories and much more in this first edition of CBN NewsWatch. We begin with the second special election in 6 months in Israel Tuesday, apparently ending with the same result, a deadlock. Both top parties appear to have fallen well short of a majority in the parliament. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell brings us this look at what happened and what's ahead.
It's a tie. According to initial vote counting, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party and the Blue and White party of Benny Gantz each won 32 Knesset seats in the elections.
Hours after the polls closed and early in the morning, Netanyahu came here to Likud headquarters in Tel Aviv to deliver what he called a short but important speech.
There will not be and there cannot be a government that leans on Arab anti-Zionist parties.
Despite the disappointment of no clear winner, Netanyahu's supporters welcomed him after 3 a.m. with songs of Bibi King of Israel. Netanyahu said he had already talked with right-wing parties, but hinted at a unity government with the opposition.
In the coming days, we will convene negotiations to assemble a strong Zionist government and to prevent a dangerous anti-Zionist government.
The day after elections, Gantz also spoke about unity.
We were busy with the campaign for too long, and with your permission, we will be waiting for another day or two, and we wish the people of Israel a good and desirable unity government.
Official results will only come in the next week, and forming a government can take another month or more. If no government is formed, Israelis could go to a third round of elections. For now, Israelis are waiting to see if a government is formed and what it will look like. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Likud headquarters, Tel Aviv.
CBN News senior editor John Wagi joins us now from Jerusalem. He's been covering Israeli elections for more than 20 years. So, John, if this election is basically a tie, who will form the next government?
Well, Ephraim, that's the number one question right now. About 91%, maybe a little more, of the vote has been counted. You have to wait until all of it's been counted before you get the official results. And whoever's ahead at that point probably will be tasked with forming the next government. Right now it's 32-32 between the two big parties. One of them could move slightly ahead by 1 seat or 2 seats, and then either Netanyahu or Benny Gantz of the Blue and White party would be asked to form the government. But we're not going to know probably for several days. By tomorrow, we should know who's most likely to get that chance.
Now, we know this has been a nasty campaign for the last 6 months. How does a unity government emerge from that?
That's a great question. They pretty much don't want to go through a third election. That's a nightmare not only for Israeli voters, but for the Israeli leaders who have been dragging through the campaigns for the last 6 months. So they're under pressure to form some sort of unity government. And what the Gantz forces would like to do is unite with Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party without Benjamin Netanyahu being there. They would like to see him toppled by his own leadership. And right now, the Likud is sticking together and uniting under Netanyahu. If Netanyahu gets a chance to form the next government, he will probably try and pick from the other parties like Blue and White and maybe even the Liberal Labor Party to form a coalition with his religious parties and Likud to see if they can get 61 seats, which is what you need for a majority in the Knesset.
Listening to what you said earlier, could this be the end of Netanyahu's career?
A lot of people, especially in the media and political opponents, are hoping so. I don't think it's the end of Netanyahu's career. This could be a hiatus, though. If Blue and White gets a chance to form the next government, I don't think that it'll be a stable government, even if it's a big government. In other words, if he has a broad coalition, Benny Gantz may be in power for a short period of time, but I think that he's going to find governing more difficult than campaigning. Even though he's a decorated military officer, he has very little experience in politics. But there's still a good chance that Netanyahu will be the one that gets a chance to form the government, and in that case, he would probably get to reign for another several months at least, pending, of course, the indictment that the Attorney General says he's going to file probably in October.
So how do you think this election will affect relations between Israel and the United States?
Well, one way it's almost certain to affect it is if there's a period of turmoil in Israel where they try and negotiate to form a government and that drags out over weeks of time. It's hard to see how President Trump can unveil his Middle East peace plan, which everybody's been waiting for some time. Everybody who has the potential of being the next prime minister will say that relationships with the United States will not change. It's solid, it's strong. That will be the mantra that you hear, whether it's Netanyahu or Benny Gantz. It's going to continue a strong relationship with the United States, but it could present some rough patches in the interim, trying to get a different government together.
All right, John Waggy, thank you so much for your analysis of the election. Much appreciated. Here in the United States, the House Judiciary Committee's first hearing as part of its Trump impeachment investigation turned into a circus Tuesday, as the committee's first witness was not about to cooperate with the Democrats' agenda. Dale Hurd is on this story.
So help you God.
The hearing descended into chaos Tuesday as the first witness, former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski, was dishing back everything the Democrats could throw at him.
Do you not have an independent recollection of whether you met with the president on that date?
Congressman, I'm just trying to find in the Mueller report where it states that.
He's filibustering.
This kind of back and forth went on for more than 5 minutes.
I simply ask you, is it correct that as reported in the Mueller report on June 19th, 2017, you met alone in the Oval Office with the president?
Could you read the exact language of the report, sir? I don't have it available to me.
I don't think I need to do that, and I have limited time. Did you meet alone with the president on that date?
Congressman, I'd like you to refresh my memory by providing a copy of the report so I can follow along.
Lewandowski had been subpoenaed by the House Judiciary Committee as part of its investigation into possible obstruction of justice by the president. But he was not about to cooperate with House Democrats.
Or his advisors to protect executive branch confidentiality. You're not going to
stonewall me in my question.
Yes or no? Read the screen.
You're welcome to read it, Congresswoman.
You're welcome to be stalling.
In his statement, Lewandowski called the investigation
is the greatest crime committed against the American people in our generation, if not ever. Since Election Day, whether it was bad actors at the FBI and the intelligence community or lies coming from members of the current House majority that there was evidence of collusion, the American people continue to be sold a false narrative with the purpose of undermining the legitimacy of the 2016 election results.
President Trump was grateful to his former campaign manager, tweeting, "Such a beautiful opening statement by Corey Lewandowski. Thank you, Corey."
I believe he
Democrats haven't seen the last of Lewandowski. He's reportedly registered with the Federal Elections Commission to run for Senate from New Hampshire. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
A new study released today shows abortion rates at an all-time low. The report from the Guttmacher Institute counted 862,000 abortions in the United States in 2017. That's down from 926,000 in 2014 and from just over 1 million in 2011. The report found one reason for the decline is fewer women are becoming pregnant. It shows abortions are decreasing in all parts of the country, whether in Republican-controlled or Democrat-controlled states. One incident numbers went up was the use of the so-called abortion pill instead of surgery. That rose from 29% in 2014 to 39% of all abortions in 2017. Coming up, a shocking crisis in the biggest cities in California. Homelessness, with people leaving piles of garbage and even human waste in the streets. We're going to tell you what the city and state governments are or aren't doing about it when we come back.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com. Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs, from health to entertainment, you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place, from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Check your local listings or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
On his trip to California Tuesday, President Donald Trump again criticized the state for its homeless crisis, saying, quote, "We can't let Los Angeles, San Francisco, and numerous other cities destroy themselves," and that people in San Francisco and LA are fed up. The president is not alone in his views. Critics say LA has become a disease-ridden dump and ground zero of a staggering public health crisis. The 60,000 homeless in the city are leaving piles of garbage and even human waste in the streets. And as Ben Kennedy now reports, the state and city governments refuse to deal with this dangerous epidemic.
Homeless advocates say this is a crisis and are even reaching out to the White House hoping President Trump can help.
What you're seeing is a row of tents.
Those rows make up Skid Row, a 50-block area with the country's largest homeless population that's only continuing to grow.
California is experiencing a massive spike in its rodent population.
Reform California reports this rampant rat infestation has even caused the spread of dangerous diseases like typhus. Dr. Drew Pinsky calls it a health crisis, something he's not seen in this country for 100 years. He even compared downtown LA to a third world country because of its public health problems and lack of sanitation.
Rats have overtaken the city. It's not consistent with civilization. How many must die before we change directions?
In 2019, homeless numbers in LA County rose by 12% to nearly 59,000 people. To top that, a quarter of the country's homeless population live in California.
I have to respond to the systemic failures of our country in helping people like this. And it's not going to be pretty, but it worked.
Officer Dion Joseph has covered life on the skids here for 22 years, helping people like Rose who battle drug addiction for more than a decade.
God bless you, man.
Thanks to people like Officer Joseph, Rose is now clean.
Now I got keys to my own place.
Yes. How does it feel?
It feels good. You can wake up knowing you're gonna wake up and everything's gonna be all right.
Has Rose been an inspiration to many to take the next step?
Rose is an inspiration to me. I don't know how many people she's inspired in the street, but she's an inspiration to me. She's why I keep doing what I do.
Now, success stories like Rose are needed more than ever. Andy, would you consider this to be a crisis?
It is absolute FEMA-like, Red Cross-like, National Guard-like disaster. It is an epidemic of homelessness.
Reverend Andy Bales heads up Union Rescue Mission, the largest homeless shelter and recovery program in the country. Bale's dedication to helping those in need led to the loss of his leg due to a flesh-eating disease he contracted while handing out water to the homeless.
After you lost your leg, did that ever deter you from getting back out there to help people?
No, I actually missed 4 days of work because I had my leg taken off. What will Jesus do miraculously through us today? Without that faith, we couldn't do what we do.
For many on Skid Row, the missions here are the only hope of growing out of poverty.
We've been here for 25 years in the neighborhood. We've never left.
Reverend Matthew Barnett's Dream Center is a Skid Row mainstay, helping those facing abuse, addiction, and poverty.
I think the goal is to try to get people out of survival mindset, because people get desperate when they're trying to survive.
Survival for this part of East Central LA may depend on changing laws in D.C.
Let's change laws and make it easier for their loved ones to gain conservatorships over them and take control of their lives so they're not in crisis and walking down the streets of Skid Row.
Now, the LA Homeless Services Authorities report that women and children make up 40% of the homeless population. One more reason why Officer Joseph says more shelters are needed to help families, kids, and the elderly. Ben Kennedy, CBN News, Los Angeles.
We are switching gears ahead and bringing you a positive story about a cable network that's providing programming the whole family can watch together. And behind it is a name that is well known in the history of Christian television. We're going to bring you that story when we come back.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News.
Up TV is a cable network often considered the destination for television the family can watch together. And at its root is a familiar name in the history of Christian television. Studio 5 pays a visit to the heart of the media company to bring you this inside look.
Shows like Bringing Up Bates, Gilmore Girls, and Heartland are fan favorites for the Up TV cable network, a trusted destination for television the family can watch together. Charlie Humbard began back in 2004.
So in terms of the beginning for you all, the start, where in Atlanta or the Georgia area were you when you began?
My basement.
Are you serious?
Yeah, serious. So this channel started in my basement in Peachtree City.
Humble beginnings for the network with offices now in Atlanta, New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. We visited Humbard in Atlanta.
Sitting here, it would seem to me that your journey to Up really began with your dad.
Started when our first show was at 5 years old. My sister and I did a show called Elizabeth and Charlie Visits the Holy Land. So we literally shot there for a month and a half in Israel, and we're one of the first to take people from around the world. The show aired worldwide on a tour, a personal tour of the sites that mattered to them across Israel, and narrated it at 5, and my sister was 8. So that was my first experience with television. Just early memories there.
The scripture starts out by saying, after 6 days.
Charlie's dad was Rex Humbard, a pioneer in television ministry, and the famed founder of the Cathedral of Tomorrow.
The first televangelist. So in 1974, the managing editor of Time magazine was doing a story on Dad. It's a feature story that year, that month, and he called him back up and he said, Rex, it was going to be a great story. I'm not sure what to call you. You're this preacher that does Sunday morning television, but you're also this like evangelist guy. So I was going to try this name called Televangelist. Dad's, sure, whatever you want to call it. And it's now a Jeopardy question. So that's where that all began. But Dad went on television in 1952. So there was one other pastor, I think, on doing some specials at the time. And so Dad really was the first televangelist as we know them today. He was a visionary.
And passed this along to you, the visionary.
Those are pretty big shoes to fill. I think he passed a lot of things along to me that we use in our business today. And the way we think about our brand, the way we think about our business today, certainly I think is influenced by my dad. The way we are a very inclusive network came from my father. I grew up in a church where one Sunday it was Andre Crouch and the Disciples, the next Sunday it was Pat Boone, the next Sunday it was Johnny and June Cash. So a wide variety of exposure in my life that way. And a lot of our values we have and the way we program comes from Dad. He was never one to tell you you were wrong. He really believed in being an example, and if it worked for you, you would come along.
In terms of your education, formal training, you studied more music as opposed to you?
I went to music business school.
Okay.
Don't tell anybody, but I'm a one-year college dropout.
And for this college dropout, what's now Up TV actually began as the Gospel Music Channel.
I've always had music as a passion, so that was the other piece when I thought about Gospel Music Channel. It seemed like such the perfect fit for me because I could really use my passion as well as my experience. And in life, when you bring those two together, it's that intersection that you're looking for, right?
So how do we go from Gospel Music Channel to GMC to Up TV?
In the cable industry, in our model, of course, you get license fees from cable operators, but you also have ratings. And so Nielsen is, your friend or not your friend, but you have ratings. And in gospel and Christian music, there are a lot of passionate fans that will watch it all day long. They have it on in the house. But there wasn't enough in the masses to drive the ratings numbers necessary to get the bigger advertisers. So we had some early believers, Ford and Lincoln came in, and some others that supported the gospel part of this. But we had to get beyond that. So we started testing some series. We had Amy Grant's Make-A-Wish that was on, and we got good response from the audience, so we started digging in, doing more research. We found Christian movies could have a great home here. Movies like The Blind Side could have a great home here. So we started to expand the programming beyond just gospel and Christian music and rebranded the network because we got to a point where we had probably 70% of the channel was not music. So it was a little confusing, the music channel. You've seen it, the same thing happen with CMT, Country Music Television, they went a different direction. MTV started all music. They don't have a lot of music on today. Right. So there's a reason those trends happened. For us, it was much the same. And but the good news is, unlike a lot of brands that had to completely change their, what they stood for, what they were about, we were always an uplifting brand.
And among the latest additions to the brand,
Up TV's new series, Our Wedding Story.
Family's so important to us. We really did this wedding for my mom and his dad.
And next up for you guys, where?
I think next up for us is a really hard, intentional steer into making movies again. We've kind of still made them for Christmas. We used to make about 18 movies a year. People loved us for it. We're going hard back into movies.
And be sure to check your local listings to find Up TV as well as its sister network, Magic Johnson's Aspire TV. You can also find more uplifting and inspiring stories on the world of entertainment on Studio 5. It airs tonight on the CBN News Channel at 9:30 Eastern. We'll also go behind the scenes with the series God Friended Me tonight, as well as for King and Country's new music duo with country music legend Dolly Parton. You can get all of that tonight. Stay with us. We'll be right back with an encouraging word for your life right after this.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream. The chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities. The chance to stand on the promises of God. To recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Welcome back. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is love. Consider this: God is not after our lack, He is after our love, and in loving Him, there is nothing missing. Give Him your love today, and with that word, make this a wonderful Wednesday and a fabulous rest of the week indeed. Well, that will do it for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online at cbnnews.com. We'd also love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here. You can do that by emailing us, newswatch@cbn.com. And you can reach out and touch us at any time on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.